Hello, my name is Barb Suyama, and I'm a Career Center Manager at a Workforce Development Center. This video today is going to be about job seeking and job keeping skills. One of the first steps in looking for a job is to find out locations that have openings, and there are many resources for you to use to find out about job openings. One of the most familiar resources is the Want Ad section of your newspaper. The job openings there are listed by category. To find a nursing assistant position, you would look under the category Healthcare. Individual facilities also post their openings on their company website. As an example, to find out about openings at a Central City Hospital, for example, you could type in that hospital's website address if you know it, or use an internet search engine and type in the name of the hospital to find out about openings. Your technical college's Employment Opportunity Center, formerly called the Placement Office, will also have job postings, and they enter the job postings onto a system called Tech Connect in Wisconsin. Job Service is an agency that lists job openings. It's a government agency that's free to use for both employers and the job seekers. Staffing services or employment agencies are private companies that provide services similar to that of job service, but they charge a fee. And these fees are charged either to the employer or the job seeker, and sometimes to both. Many companies, however, will only hire people who are referred to them by these staffing services. Research on job seeking shows that the most effective way to find out about job openings is to ask neighbors, friends, and relatives if they know of anyone who's hiring nursing assistants. This method is called networking. Many communities have active networking groups, and you can find out about these groups by checking your local newspaper. A job fair is usually a one-day event at which many employers set up tables at a specific location for a specified period of time. Job seekers attend this job fair and talk to the companies about any openings they may have. Many of the interviewers will interview right at the job fair. You can also contact companies directly to inquire whether or not they have job openings. You can use a telephone book, a services directory, or a Chamber of Commerce guide to get the names and phone numbers of places that you can call. And finally, workforce development centers are located throughout the United States. These centers are set up so that all or most of the resources I've mentioned are located in one building. To find a job center location near you, go to the internet, and the address is www.servicelocator.org and click on Workforce Development Centers. You will most probably be asked for a resume at some point in your job search process. A resume is a written document that highlights your skills and qualifications for a job in an organized manner. It's a basic job search tool, and very often is the first contact an employer may have with you. An employer will want to call you for an interview if your resume looks professional and highlights skills, abilities, and qualifications that relate to the occupation you're applying for. The basic elements of a resume are, of course, your name, your address, your phone number, including your area code, your email address, a career objective or position desired, a skills summary, education information, any experience and work history, and any special awards, accomplishments, or special memberships that you hold. It's no longer appropriate to include any personal information such as height, weight, hobbies, or interests on your resume. And it is also no longer necessary to include the statement references available upon request. There are numerous resources available to help people to create a professional resume. The Job Information Center at your Workforce Development Center, your local library, or the Employment Opportunity Center at your school have sample resumes, vocabulary lists, and other resources that can help you create a resume. These resources are usually offered at no cost to job seekers. Filling out job applications is also a part of the job search process. A job application is a form, usually different for every employer, that asks questions regarding your salary history, your work experience, and your skills and education background. It's customary to be asked to fill out a job application prior to the interview. The resume and the application are used to determine who's going to be called in for an interview. Although some of the information asked for on an application is a duplication of information that you may have on your resume, it's a good idea to take the time to fill out the application form completely. Many times the application and the resume are separated after they're turned in, and that's why it's not a good idea to say, "See resume" as a response on your application. Be prepared to fill out the application at the employer's work site. Bring a pen and also the address of your previous employers as well as your dates of previous employment. If you have to ask the receptionist for a telephone book to look up this information, you will seem unprepared and disorganized for your job search. Applications, like resumes, make an impression on those who read them. The way the application is completed reveals a lot about a person's ability to read, write, their attention to detail, their neatness, and whether or not they take pride in their work. There are resources at your local workforce development center or library that provide tips on filling out an application to ensure that it represents you in a positive light. Many organizations have online applications. If you don't have a computer at home, you can access these online applications at your local library, a job service office, or at the Workforce Development Center. You may be asked to provide names and phone numbers of references at some point during the job search process, either during the interview or on an application. A reference is a person who knows you well and will recommend your skills and vouch for your personal characteristics. Former employers, co-workers, community contacts, and instructors are good choices to use as references. Be sure to ask these people for their permission to use them as a reference before you put them down. Never use friends or family members as a reference because they won't be valued as having an objective opinion of your skills or your character. Type up their names, titles, and phone numbers on a separate sheet of paper and bring that with you to the interview. In the next section, I'll be talking about the interview. But before we begin, I'd like you to take a look at an interview in progress.